So welcome to Meet the Owner. We are here with Jackie Robinson, who is the founder of The Balance Approach. She's out there creating communities, collaborations within Wellbeing. So welcome, Jackie.
Thank you, Chica.
So if you just, let's go right from the beginning. I like to know people's backgrounds, where they came from. Are you from around here, Preston, or where?
I'm from 8 miles away in a little village called Billsborough near Garstang.
Oh, right.
I'm a farmer's daughter. So we lived on a very, very small farm in a very small village, and we had a big community. And that's what's founded my business, really, is that upbringing really taught me the importance of working together. When you're in a farming community, lots of things can go wrong. It's dependent on the weather, it's dependent on whether your animals get disease or things like that, and things do go wrong. So you're very much reliant on family, friends, and the outer community.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That sounds lovely, actually.
It was actually, yeah, but you live it and you don't realise, and I probably didn't value it until I went to live abroad and realised not everybody lived like me. But you don't when you're living it, do you?
Okay, so obviously you finished, so did you go to university?
I didn't go to university, no. To be honest, for my age group, going to university, you'd have to be a genius, and I'm not a genius. I'm a genius in many ways, but not academically particularly. No, my natural progression, I actually wanted to go to drama school. And we had a half an hour's careers lesson. That's how it was in those days, especially in rural areas. And I said, I want to go to drama school. And they said, no, I think you should get a trade. So that's how it was. So I got a trade. You didn't have as many choices in those days, but it actually worked out really well for me. So I actually became a hairdresser. I got a trade, but my dream was not only go to drama school, but to travel the world. Didn't know how I was going to do it without any money, but through doing hairdressing, I went to work on a cruise ship, and I did travel the world, and I continued working abroad, not as a hairdresser, for 18 years. So travel the world. I did get there, and I made it happen, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? Whichever way it takes.
Yeah, that sounds good. And the reason I even say I like people who didn't go to university is that because a lot of the time there's this big stereotype that for you to do something in life,
yes,
you have to have gone to university, you have to have had this great education.
Yeah.
There's so many people that are very successful who did not have that.
Absolutely.
But then, do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Are
Life
skills
are really important,
Exactly.
and having that inner drive, and it's not a test of your intelligence, is it, when you go to university? It's how you use your personal skills, because we've all got them, but it's finding them, isn't it? It's not always brought out in school, is it? But by living your dream and always aiming for your goals, you'll find strengths and weaknesses as well.
All right, yeah. So was it a moment that you had the idea of starting this exact business? Was it like this just one moment you're like, this is what I'm going to do, or was it progressive? How did you come up with the idea?
Right, it was definitely progressive. So, like I said, I did the counselling, I did the holistic therapies, and then my whole point was I wanted to do treatments, and I set up, and I've got a little summer house at the back of my cottage, and I was doing treatments there, and I'm really enjoying doing that and helping people. It was very enjoyable, but because I had a training background in my last life, in my jobs overseas, I was a trainer. I really enjoy educating people and learning. Like I say, I love going on training myself. So I thought, alongside this, I can do small training courses, which I started to do. And it just got bigger and bigger from then. And then I'm a visionary, I'd say, that I'm a creative person. And I thought, actually, this would really help in the workplace. The workplace I was in was very toxic at the time, and everyone was lovely, but really the whole structure wasn't right for Wellbeing, and it should have been, because it is charity focused and helping people it was the opposite. So I realised what could be done to help. So by being in that work and actually seeing what was needed, I then created a programme to help people in the workplace. And it's evolved from then. And so I've continued evolving over the 2 years. I did have a business partner at the beginning. We started off, she had different skills to me, and we thought, oh, you know what, this will work, because we're not good at everything. We're not specialists in everything. And so, it did work for a while, but my business partner then decided she wanted to do something else, which is fine. We've all got to follow our own path. But I was very determined, and my vision was very, very clear of what I wanted to achieve then. And it has slowly, and the road's been like this, all the way, progressed to where I am now, as where I'm training up wellbeing champions. So people now understand that, and it is the law actually, you've got to have a wellbeing program within your workplace, that you have to train up the wellbeing champions so that they can then go out and train up people within the workplace and then create a community. It's so important to me that the community, which seems to have been lost in this country a lot. My best friend, when I came back from 18 years of living overseas, said, you're like a woman in a freezer. So I've been frozen in time. So when I came back, I was like Crocodile Dundee, like, what's happened? Why is this happening? It was, because I'd lived in lots of different countries, and I was a little bit sad that the community seems to have been lost, and I've been home 18 years now actually, but it seems gradually. But I think we're at a point people wanting change, and they're seeing actually that was right what they did 25, 30 years ago. That worked. Let's get back again, and that's my vision now, is to do that.
Good, and like you mentioned, vision.
Yeah.
So obviously, when you were talking about how your vision has got clearer and clearer all the time.
Yeah.
Is there any practical things that you've done to kind of find what your vision is, and what have you?
So by it is experiment in business. You're trying different things, and I always like to do things a little bit quirky and a bit unique. So I didn't follow anybody else's pattern, because I wanted to do something quite special. So by going out networking, actually, which isn't always easy, is it? Even though I'm quite a social person, going into a place where everyone's in business and they might have been in 20, 30 years, and you feel a bit swallowed up. But actually getting out there, being brave, being bold, and meeting people, you're learning from them. So you don't know who someone knows. So they might not be able to help you, or I might not be able to help them, but it's who they know. And that is a community, isn't it then? Your business community. You can have lots of little communities. So definitely the vision has grown through the people I've met, through the mistakes I've made, definitely, because we all make them. But I don't like to call them mistakes. They're experiences, aren't they? And through that experience, I have developed, and I think, I know I've refined it to what it is now. But definitely the little hitches you get, the experiences you have, is what drives you to the road that you're supposed to. And I do feel like I have a calling, and however you want to interpret that, is that to make a better life for my son, really, in the bigger world. But because I felt like the world wasn't going in the right way, really. It sounds a big thing, but actually, if you can make a small difference, that's important.
That's very deep, actually. Yeah. Calling, because that's another word I'm going to keep asking about. Calling. What is it? Okay, what's the simplest way you can define what calling is?
Heavy regret saying your word. Right.
In your own words.
Okay, well, if we're going deep, let's go deep. I have become more of a spiritual person. I think going overseas and learning from different cultures, and working with so many cultures, so many different religions, that taught me so much. And realising, you know, I was brought up in a regular C of E, Church of England. We went to church every Sunday. That's what we did. Did I really get any spiritual connection out of that? I could probably say no. But what I learned from it was community, and we all helped each other. And that's really what it was all about. And so going abroad and living with different cultures, and I'm a very curious person anyway, so I would really get deep into what their faith meant to them, whether it was Muslim or Hindu or Buddhist. Everyone has a different answer to that, don't they? And I found that really fascinating. But it all came back to community. But there is a spiritual element there that actually I almost feel like I've been led on a journey. In going overseas even, all that was all my education. So I didn't go to university, but that was my university. You know, learning all that and all, you know, some bad things that have happened. You know, I've lost a few friends, young people, through illness. They've passed. Which is really hard when they're young, and going on that journey with them, you want some answers. You're like, well, where have they gone? You know, it can't just be it, and you question it, and through that, I do think I've been led on a journey. It's the best way I can describe it.
That's because, and I really like that. The reason why I asked you that was deliberate as well, in a sense that a lot of people think business is just about the here, the now, the practical.
Oh yeah, money, you know
and it's all about. Do you know what I mean? I believe entrepreneurship is part of who you are as a person.
Oh, 100%.
Your purpose.
Yeah.
And kind of, and clearly you've rooted it in those things there.
Yeah.
So,
it's purpose, and I think you just said the word. It is having purpose in your life, and you know, we are in a world of people with mental health conditions. But I think if you haven't got a purpose, people start to question what their life's all about. But actually, if you have this purpose, and you want to help everybody, it just lifts you, no matter what happens. You know that whatever you're doing is the right thing, and having a purpose is so important in business, whether you're an employee or whether you're an entrepreneur. And you know, and as I read quite a lot, and I like to read about different people, entrepreneurs, but most of them are the really successful ones. Well, A, always had a sense of purpose, and B, generally have some kind of spiritual connection, which is quite surprising. People will be surprised about that. Yeah.
So why entrepreneurship? Why business? Did you? Because obviously you've had jobs.
Yeah.
Why didn't you just carry on with your job? Because and there is nothing. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. So why didn't you just carry on? Why did you feel like you needed to go into business or entrepreneurship?
Okay, so it's very safe, isn't it, being in employment? But I think being a creative person, and I will call myself a visionary. I can see things. Whether it won't always work out perfectly, but that's the kind of person I am. I'll do it, and I'll learn along the way. I'm less of a strategic person where I have to have everything boxed off and say, oh, right now, this is what we do. I believe actually you're better off just having an idea. Obviously you have to think about it, how it's going to work, but then just going for it and learn along the way, which I have done. Because if you, I always use this idea is like, if you're planning a wedding, I've never been married, but your friends that have, you know, they focus so much on this idea of the wedding. It's going to be perfect, and they have to have this and that. And, you know, for 2 years they're stressing out this big one day. And really, what it should be about is about celebrating the love of those two people, and nobody really cares about the venue or, you know, but because it needs to be so perfect. Ultimately, obviously, something's going to go wrong, and then that's going to upset them on the day. So I always use that, and that's the same in business. If you think everything's going to be so perfect, you're going to be very disappointed. and be open to going down a different road. And there's so many, and maybe that road will take you somewhere that, hang on, backtrack, and I'm going to run that way again. But it's part of the journey, and working. You asked me the question, why not stay in employment, which I did. And to be honest, I would have been self-employed a lot sooner if it hadn't been that I had to bring my son up on my own, because I felt this huge responsibility. Because I'd had an amazing upbringing in the country, and going to nice schools. I mean, they weren't particularly academic schools, but everything was very lovely, really. I wanted to give that to my son, and the only way I could do that securely was by being in employment. So it was very frustrating for many years, because I wanted to do lots of different things, and it was always, we'll do this. We've done it this way for 20 years, so we're going to do that. So in fact, my son is 16.
Just read my mind. I was just going to say, how old is your son?
All right, no, he was 16 last week.
Oh, wow.
He's a very grounded, wonderful young man. And yes, I still have to support him in all of this. But this is, he needs me less. In fact, he probably wants to, Mum, go on your journey, please. Only having one child, your life becomes focused on that person. So yes, it's the right timing for me. I'm very excited. It's not all about the money, but I've been on another journey about that. Is actually, I've never been about money and materialism, but actually you have to get real. And so I'm, having been on this journey for 2 years, and now I do want to make money, and I do, because ultimately you can help people. The more successful you become, the more people you can help. And that's taken a while to get inside my head, because it was almost like being materialistic was wrong. Being creative, be my own self, and all the skills that I've learned along the way has been important to me. So I can put them all into place and go on the journey that I want to. That's the reason why. I guess.
Amazing. And what does your son say about you starting your own business? Did he have an opinion, or did
he absolutely loves it, and he has so much faith in me, which is a bit scary. He really believes. We talk a lot, and we have deep conversations, and he says, "Mum, you're going to make it. You're going to make it," and he would just keep going. There have been times where we've had to cut back from what we haven't been on any exotic holidays for 2 years, because we do like our unusual holidays. So we haven't been on any of those for 2 years. So these things you have to cut back, and he's totally backing me, and he totally believes. And I like the fact that he's watching what you can do. You can do it on your own. You don't have to walk the walk that you're told to. You can create your own journey.
Yeah, exactly. And what role have people, obviously you talk about your son, but is there any other significant people that played a role in you starting your business, and you feeling like you can start your business?
Well, I've got a lot of friends who have their own business, and generally they've been family businesses that they've started. I don't know so many people who have started something completely different, but I'm quite I do take risks. I'm a person that will take risks, and I'm not scared to do it, because I just believe that I will be taking I always ask myself, what's the worst that can happen? If I've got my health, and if I haven't got my health, I'm in the wrong job. So do look after my health and well-being. If I've got that, I've got my family, I've got my friends, and the wider community. Nothing else matters. And yes, I do want to be successful, and I am going to be successful. In fact, I feel like I'm successful already because I've been on the journey. Then that's all that matters, and nothing else matters. And I advise anybody who starts a business, but it really is scary when you've got all these bills to pay. Is go for it. What's the worst that can happen?
And so what I always think about value customers. I
Yeah.
just think if you're gonna be in business, you have to be adding some sort of value to somebody or your business. It's just a bit fraudulent.
Yeah, oh, it's just, why do it? Yeah.
So, what value do you think you bring to people as a business?
Okay, so we can talk about social responsibility. My business definitely looks at social responsibility, whether people think that's important or not. I think if people are in small business, they can't always think about that because they're struggling themselves to try and get on top. But bigger businesses, it's really important now, and they're putting it in the structure about businesses that can help the community, help the third sector, which is charities, and it teaches the employer, the employee, about, there are people out there that really need your help, and moaning about the weather, which British people are really good at, and just things that there are other countries that really wish for rain, please rain, that's travelling taught me that, but actually putting social value in, because part of my business is employee engagement and going into the third sector, because I believe that's part of wellness. But also putting your well-being at the top of the tree, at the top of any business. So if you are looking after the well-being first of yourself, that's the employer, and you can be seen to be doing that, not working through your lunch break and working till 10 o'clock at night and never seeing your children. That's no value, is it? So they've got to walk the walk. So first I like to look at the management structure and everybody in the senior level, and then we work at working down. And so it has to be done like that. Because if it's just a tick box exercise, don't come to me, because that's not what I'm about. Sustainability. So a wellness program for me is about training up your staff so then they can train up more and more and more, and you've gained a community, and everyone's talking, because this day is the digital age, aren't we? And it's great. Digital is fantastic. It should be as a support, but it shouldn't replace person-centered. And that is my value, is that we are going that way. All the funding is going for digital, and it is. Quite a few people think of it as well-being or looking at the person as a bit fluffy and a bit of a luxury. No, it's not. We're people. We've got to look at the human element and really stop and think about that, because if we don't, it is going to go horribly wrong. I think the people that are successful, the businesses that are successful, are the people that look at their own, but they know who their employees are. And you might have 1,000 employees, you can't know them individually, but down the line they will each know. And knowing that if something does go wrong in life, and ultimately in all in life something will go wrong, that you can go you know where to go, and someone will help you. All of the community will help you. You don't have to sit alone. We've got problems with children committing suicide, and to me that is just phenomenal. I can't believe it. I can't believe that happens. We've got to look at that. We've got to look at schools. So big value. It's about life. It's about living.
You guys are going to change the world.
Absolutely. Well, one small step into changing the world is if we all did it.
Exactly.
That's.
It's obviously at the end of the day, because it's not just the one person. It's like you doing what. So do you know what I mean? We all work together to change the world, to change our world.
Yeah. And everybody, you talk to most people, actually, they do want it. Even with people you don't think who are very materialistic, or you think they are, actually underneath they know it's right. They know the biggest part of their life is actually that making contact and actually making a difference in someone's life, however small that is. You don't know what bigger impact that's made. Even like today, actually, funny enough, I was coming up here and I didn't really know where I was going, and from parking my car across the road, I've asked 3 people, and there's nobody would lie. So I think again, this is all part of it. all three of those people, when I asked them where it was, they actually escorted me to each part. I mean, and they smiled and we chatted and we engaged. And I said, this is amazing. This just doesn't happen in this day and age. But, you know, they were all so lovely. And I commented on them. I said, thanks for that. You know, you didn't need to walk down the road or down the corridor to take me to this place. And I was very grateful. And it's about having gratitude and being very positive about life and being resilient. Being resilient is very important, and knowing that actually we've got an amazing country. We're very lucky. You know, despite all the politics that are going on, it is an amazing, awesome country, and we have the ability to talk. For women, I think particularly, you know, we can stand up and have an opinion. Told we're ridiculous, but it doesn't matter. We still can do it, and you know. Even, you know, people who don't think they're worthy, we can all talk, and it's important for people to know that. Being grateful, always.
Yeah, that's amazing. So for someone who was where you were when you first started, or a small business owner, because obviously some of these people, it might be just them by themselves.
Yeah,
can't afford. You're probably very expensive because you bring a lot of value to people. Because I do think, do you know what I mean? You have every right. If you do bring the value, you know what I mean. You deserve to set the prices that you do. But for the person that's a small business owner, you can't really afford someone to come in and help them with that. What kind of advice would you give them for their own well-being and health?
Well, Chico, I've actually thought about this a great deal, and because I've always been on that end, can't afford all these things, so I do think about that a lot. So I have developed a training. I take people out of the workplace and I put training courses on locally at Brockles Nature Reserve. I don't know if you know it, but it is absolutely stunning. It's my favourite venue, and you know, there's water everywhere. As you're driving down to it, you feel lovely. But anyway, the point is that I put on these days about once every 2 months, and for £100, you can send, even if it's just one person in your business, they can come for this. It's a full day, and that day is all about teaching the Wellbeing champion, as they are now known, to be able to put a wellbeing initiative into their company, put it into place. They go away with a workbook, and part of that package, I go back into the business for 1 hour and help them set it up. And that's not about me selling all different courses, or, I mean, they can if they want, that'd be very nice, but if they don't, that's absolutely fine. They can do it themselves, because as long as they're creating that community, and as long as they're getting out there, that actually we think about your well-being in this business. You might only have 10 people in your business, but you need to get it out there. And sometimes it's more stressful when there's only 10. You've got a lot more response. It's more generic, isn't it? You've got to do everything. So I really thought about that a lot. That offering is there for absolutely everyone. So I know I'm not too expensive at all. It's for everybody. Yeah.
And so for that one, how can people have access to that?
Okay, so on my website it's www.thebalanceapproach.com, easy to remember. I'm on all over LinkedIn and Facebook. You just have to look for The Balance Approach. And I'm developing the calendar for next year. It's not completely revised, but the next event's going to be in February at Brockles again. So I just loved it there. But within that day, you have 10 presenters, not just me, it's not just me talking. We have 10 different wellbeing providers, and they're all different to me. So it's showing you what you can have, and it's showing you, you need to look at who's in your business. So if you have 10 people and 8 of those are women of a certain age, for example, if they're over 35, things that people don't like to talk about, like the menopause, we're not going to talk about it, but actually it's getting out there. Why not talk about it? Every woman's going to go through it, and there are some people go through it worse, and they're usually in a senior position, these women, and they're going through a terrible time. But by being open, talking about things like this, which normally was a taboo subject, get men talking about it, but actually it affects men more when the wives are as grumpy as hell. And divorces happen at this time. Exactly. I feel sorry for you. No, it's important that men and women talk about it together and not be embarrassed. But years ago, going through the menopause was like the end. You almost come to the end of your life. You're useless as a woman. But now it's not. You're almost in the middle of your life, and you've got another 40 years hopefully. It's a new 21, and why not? And it's being positive about that, and actually thinking, other people are going through this, and we're all going through it. You may think people are usually successful, but you don't know what they're going through. So talking to people is important, and opening yourself up to different cultures. People with disabilities, it's a big thing for me, is making disability awareness as well. Is that quite often we don't want to ask them why they've only got one leg or whatever the disability is, because we feel awkward about it. But actually, having spoken to a lot of people disabled, we want people to talk, not particularly talk about why, but actually for them to understand. And make it easier for them, so everyone can be in employment and be part and purposeful, because that's when people get depressive and they've got no purpose, and that happens a lot with people with disabilities, whether that be a mental issue or whether that be a physical disability. You get a lot of depression around that, and you can understand why, because people are almost like, do you want to talk about it? Because we don't want to offend them, but actually we're offending them more by not getting them involved.
Wow, it's amazing. We're already getting a bit of the value of, your knowledge and well-being and that kind of thing. So my other question was, so having started your business, what are some, we don't want to call them mistakes, some learnings?
Learning experiences, let's call them.
What are some learning experiences in starting your business that you've had?
Okay, I think the biggest learning experience for me personally, other people won't do this, but I am a person, I'm like a tornado, and once I got an idea, I feel so very passionate about it, and I've just got to get on with it, and I'm going through it, and really I should put more strategic into place. Not too much detail, but just have things that a little bit before I go into. So discipline. Again, I'm not too disciplined a person. I'm just being honest.
Who is?
I say, well, some people are naturally, actually.
A lot of people probably are.
I'm not at all. But that's I don't see it as a negative. Because in some ways that will help people who are. They won't be able to do things like sit in front of the camera like that. It doesn't bother me. We each add value. So actually, administration is not something that bothers me. Really does. And it's always something I put on the bottom of the pile. Yeah, I can do that. And ultimately, then it's the last minute. I'm like, oh my God, why didn't I do it? And I almost wish that I'd employed someone, separately. However, not having the finances, but actually, it probably would have been more value to say, right, can you do this? Because there are people out there. You don't have to employ a person just for admin, like full time. There.
Is it like virtual PAs?
Yeah, virtual PAs, that's exactly the word. They're amazing. So you can actually say, right, this job that I don't like, you do that. And whatever money you're paying, you might think you're not going to afford it, but actually, because it's always there, you have to do it, but it's there in the background. They go, well, I'll go and do this because it's more fun, but that's what I'm good at. So I should be doing the things that I'm really good at, and let the people who love what they do. They love doing administration and they're very good at it. We're all good at something, and so let the people do what they need to do. So that would be my experience that I've learned. And also be prepared to make mistakes. Experiences, whatever you want to call them, because it's going to happen whether you like it or not. And even if you're a very prepared, strategic person, things are going to happen that you've no control of. And so it may be like in like political situation. For example, since starting my business, well, not since, and during the whole Brexit thing, I know we don't want to use that word, but let's talk about it. It's coming very close next week. It's really important. Because actually does affect every business. And so my business being Wellbeing and thought of as a luxury, even though it is law, it has been put on the back burner because they've all been affected, because everyone's waiting for something to happen. And that would be my advice to people. What are they waiting for? Is something monumental going to happen next week on the 12th of December? Yes, it is in the wider world, but actually big structures are going to take place for years ahead of that. So let's not hold back. Go forth. And actually that's something I'm good at, is going forth. And I know when you're looking at billions of pounds in your kind of business like that, you can't always do it that way. But businesses starting off like mine, small businesses, don't be put off by that. Don't think I'll wait for enough time. If you've got the idea, you've got the passion, you have that gut, always go with your gut instinct, always, and go for it, and keep going, and learn from your faults. When you get burnt, when your spark goes out, get up and be the whole goddamn fire.
And so obviously these things have happened to you, and obviously you've learned a lot of things. What would you, how do you, obviously I strongly believe in investing in yourself. There's the learnings you have, whether you like it or not, but the ones that you do actually choose to, how do you develop yourself?
Okay.
And how have you developed yourself?
Yeah, well, I am constantly going on. I'm a trainer, but I'm constantly going on training courses. And the great thing, I don't know if it's like this in the other counties in the country, I'm sure it is, but there is so much out there to help. So there's Boost. I'm a member of Boost on the growth program now, but I started with them, and they offer so much training free. You plan. I come to the Breakfast Club, so you're meeting people. You're not only training, but you're networking. Networking is so important, because people buy from people. So if you like somebody, if you want a wellbeing program, for example, let's use it, there are many out there. Who do you choose? Do you just go on every website? You haven't got time to do that. So actually, it is actually the people you meet. You either like me or not, and think, well, she will fit in to our business, and let's get Jackie in. Or they might go with Julie down the road, let's say, who, it doesn't matter. They'll all add value, and everybody. There is no such thing as competition. Everyone says, so what's your competition? I don't have any competition, because I'm me and they're them. And we all, because of my experiences, I offer something different that I think is important, and somebody else will offer something different. And I think that's key, really. It's just to get out there, go networking, and it's not a pleasant experience sometimes going into a room of people that you don't know. You're on your own, and the secret with that is that you know that every other person will be thinking the same thing. That actually, I'm going to go home right now. I'm tired. I'll finish work. I really don't want to be making conversation with people that I don't know. But actually, after you get over that and you realise everyone's in the same boat, you find the right networking circles as well. So networking, certainly training, and also self training. I'm always looking at podcasts. I love them. And it does lift you. And there's certain people that you'll go for. And I like to train lots of different people, and local people, and forming your community. So I've formed my own wellbeing community with other wellbeing providers. And we lift each other, and I formed a group, and so we're all got our own WhatsApp group, and any questions, and they're all got their own businesses, and we just ask each other a question, and we'll build each other up. We all support each other, and there are many I went to an event yesterday actually. In fact, was the day I met you, Unique Ladies. I've just come to it.
There we go.
There's another funny story.
I met a lady, by the way. What's a lady? I promise. There you go. But, hey, there you go.
Which,
that is a funny story.
It was a wonderful story, and we'd never met otherwise, Chico.
There we go.
And it was a good story. But Unique Ladies is fantastic for people who are in business on their own and need that support. So we do need support, and if your family doesn't always give you, no matter how wonderful they are, they don't understand your journey. Particularly, I mean, my family, they did have their own business, they were farmers, but actually, this is too much of a risk. They don't understand. So, they expected that money's going to come in straight away. So, are you making money? Well, not yet, but, And so, so you actually need someone who really understands what you're going through, and that actually the end goal is what's important. And you'll keep each other going, and you'll lift each other, and you'll get excited. You need to be excited about what you're doing. No matter what it is, selling nails or whatever, you need to be excited about it, and also growing and keep it exciting. Don't just keep to the same thing. There's all sorts of avenues you can go down, and you've got all sorts of skills, haven't you? Everybody has different skills they don't know about because they've just gone along life and learning them. They haven't really thought about it. So the important thing is to look at yourself and big yourself up, pat yourself on the back, and say, actually, gosh, yeah, I've got all this value that I didn't realise I had. Because no one's ever actually told me it was value. So sometimes you've got to tell yourself what value you have, and those that you think, oh, actually, I wish I was like that. And then you think, oh, well, I'm going to learn to be like that. And realising life is limitless. You can do absolutely anything you want to. And it's not going to be an easy ride, and it's not going to give you a silver platter. But if you're willing to take the falls down again and keep that goal in mind, then you're going to get that down.
Okay, talk to me a bit about there's something that you mentioned. You said you're building a community.
Yeah.
Where you have all of these people that are well-being providers.
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself, we're meant to be fighting each other. It's competition. Snooze, you lose. So how does that work? So how do you do that?
Well, I've always believed in collaboration, and from starting the business with Ruth, we were always great into learning from each other and the different skills that we have. And not everybody will think that way, and so there is a lot of people who think, oh, no, competition, you're doing this, and they'll keep away from you, and you'll know those people, and that's fine, but whatever you're doing, you can help each other, and you mustn't think it of competition, because everybody needs what you're offering, usually at some point, or your family member will, or your friend will. So that's what networking groups are all about, aren't they? Actually, it's not the person in that room, it might be people that you know. And the conversations you have out of work, wherever you are, and you're having conversations, and so, oh, well, actually, I know somebody who was talking about that. Why don't you get in touch with these people? And it's opening yourself up. And once you believe that, no one's competition, you're not in a fight. You shouldn't be fighting.
It's not fighting, I promise. No, but I do 100% agree with that. And I like the point you made. You said, you talked about how we're all different. We all have certain different. We might be in the same industry, but we're all still unique.
And deliver differently.
Exactly. And that was a really great point. So what do you believe success is for you?
Wow, that's a big question, isn't it? What is success? Is having a purpose, having a goal, and every morning you wake up and you get excited about what you're going to do, and just being happy and being content. You're not always going to be cartwheeling through life, but actually always checking in on yourself and saying, wow, how far have I come in 2 years? Or how far have I come in a month? Because sometimes you think, actually, I don't think I'm here, but then you have to check in with yourself. and being happy with what you do. So if you're not happy with your business and it's not what you want to do, then you need to change it. And understanding, actually, it's okay to change. You're not a failure. If that person, my business has evolved and changed so much and will continue. I have lots of other things I want to achieve. It wasn't like one thing that I wanted and then I maybe found okay, I'm a success. It's about always changing, always evolving, and giving yourself time to actually look and think, this is success. This is where I am right now. I'm successful today. Not I'm going to be successful in 12 months' time. It's like right here, right now, I'm successful.
And how do you maintain? Because every time I meet you, you're always very joyful. You're always smiling. How do you maintain that? Because sometimes you think business is hard, man, and you're trying to plod along.
Knocking you with a brick all the time.
You're just trying to, you know what I mean? So how do you maintain that kind of? You're just radiant, you're joyful.
Oh, Chico, thank you. Well, just by somebody telling me that, thank you. I do believe you get back what you give, and if you're miserable, and you may feel miserable, you may have very good reason to be miserable. Some really tragic things happen to people, isn't there? And so you can't be cartwheeling. And so I'm not cartwheeling, like I say, every day, and bad things have happened to me. And so I don't know, it's fine. But I have to check in with myself, and I review this situation right now, because that situation is temporary. That isn't going to be there. And I think, how am I going to get out of this whatever it is? Which road do I take to get out of it as quick as possible? Because if I'm for me, really, having a son who they look on you, your children look up at you as a lead, don't they? I think I certainly looked at my parents, and my father was an incredibly happy, joyful man, and always laughing and always smiling. It comes from my father, particularly, I think. My mother was a strong, resilient one. You get it from your genetics, but also in just feeling lucky every day, and knowing what's important, having the key things in life that's important.
Okay. And so, give us some highlights. In your business. What are some things that have happened that you've been really excited about? It can even be things that you're excited about that are going to happen in your business.
Okay. I'll start from the beginning of our journey. That was so exciting, realising the potential, and actually realising, I can do this. Me, Jackie Robinson, I can do this. Because I always undervalued and didn't have a lot of confidence. But it's that moment when you're like, I can do this, why can't I? And that is such a joyful feeling. And also, I've always been very independent and don't like asking people for help. But realising, I like people asking me for help because I like helping people. So actually, it's a bit selfish of me thinking that I can't ask others. So I have started to ask others for help, and they're very grateful for that, because they're all part of the journey. So the different events I've put on have been really hard work to put on. The first one was our launch, which was in a teepee. It was very quirky. My friend has a teepee business, and she very kindly, they were having it was actually 2 years. What date is it today? This is bizarre. It was the 6th of December, 2 years ago, is the anniversary of our launch. That is amazing. There you go.
Wow.
And it was the coldest day of the year. It was snowing. It was beautiful, and it was down on the A59 as you enter Clitheroe, and a beautiful area. And so it was our launch, our Wellbeing event. We had, I think, 8 presenters. We had mulled wine and Christmas mince pies and things like that, and the whole place was set up absolutely lovely. But when it was in the evening, so it was from 5 till I think 8 o'clock, and everything that could possibly go wrong went wrong. So the electrics went, so the mulled wine was then cold, the microphone didn't work, and there was no heating. In fact, there was cold hair being blown back into the teepee, and of course the snow was melting on the teepee and it was dripping in onto these stalls. We had stalls onto these lovely cakes, and this was all launch. This was all a big day, and we had worked so hard to put this on. But the saving grace, and this is a wonderful story, is that they had in the middle of these teepees a beautiful big log burner. And so one of the presenters, which I'm very grateful for, took the initiative because there was a stage at the back. She brought everyone from the stage, and everybody came round this log burner, and it was pitch black. There's no lights. People lit the candles. People who had a stall with candles, we lit all the candles, and we had this log burner. And it was almost a spiritual moment. It was incredible, and everybody to this day still remembers this launch. Maybe for the wrong reasons, but actually they said it was absolutely fantastic. And it just went from there, and it was a wonderful feeling. And I met some great people that night who came along. But yeah, it was funny. So things that go wrong can make things right, and it was almost something, a sign for me that's saying, you don't need all these lovely things to make you work. You got it. You got it there. So so the different events that we've done, which are really hard to put on, are events. And the latest one was November the 11th, which was our launch of the Wellbeing Champions training. And I was very ambitious in what I did. I think 10 presenters, one after another. They only had 20 minutes. And that was massively ambitious. And like I say, I am turbo, and I can do this. And I was a bit concerned. And then again, on the morning of getting there, of course, I wanted to be there first. I was actually the one to really, really organise. Everything was in place. I'd been down the day before. Everything was set up. And I went to go. For some reason, I decided to take a different journey. And the journey I went, you have to go over a railway crossing, one of these little railway crossings. And for some reason, it wasn't working that day. And I was stuck on the railway crossing for half an hour. And I'm just getting more and more nervous. And you say, "Are you Joyce?" I wasn't Joyce. I was swearing very badly at the sky. Like, "You want to do this to me today?" And it was so I got there when everybody had arrived, because they cheered and going, "Oh yeah." The person who's organised it, and it's really not what I wanted to hear. I was very stressed, but I took a big smile on, and then of course the screen wasn't working and wasn't adapted. But anyway, it all worked out in the end. But again, I was experiencing work-life stress to the absolute max, and I spoke about it. My first opening was like, "I'm going to tell you about work-life stress, because that's what we're here about. This is my day. This is so far." I think you need to experience that. This is what happens to people, and top of that, and then you get to work and your boss is awful to you because they're not understanding what's gone on, and you may have really bad family problems or relationship problems, whatever it is, because we all have. And it's about understanding each other and giving people a bit of a break, instead of just presuming that they're tardy or whatever reason. There might be reasons why they might be a bit off or grumpy, or they're not horrible people. But if we open our hands and our hearts to people, actually in a workplace, we can all get on. And communication is key. That's my third C.
Communication, yeah.
Communication, collaboration. Yeah.
Yeah. So, just last question. So, what has entrepreneurship or business, or whichever way people call it, what has it done for you as Jackie Robinson?
Oh my goodness, so much. I've learned so many new skills, which I never thought I'd be capable of, or dreamed of trying. Confidence mainly, and self-belief. really investing in myself, in what I'm capable of, and what everybody is capable of. And I can, with my experience of that, because most of us actually don't have the confidence, or we might be perceived to look like. Most people would say, gosh, you're so confident, so out there. And they would have said that from childhood, but actually I was a deeply shy person, and we use different skills. So yeah, confidence, and I'm really at that place where I really am confident. I really do have self-belief in myself. Yeah, I'm amazed because anything's possible.
Amazing. So I think it's been going a while.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks, Cheeky, for the opportunity.
There's been so much value, so many different things that we've all learned from, you know what I mean, listening to you, and hopefully we'll have you back soon.
Yeah,
again, and you're telling us about how you're the best wellbeing organisation within the Northwest.
I'll already be known as that.
So yeah, there we go. So yeah, thank you very much, Jackie.
Thank you, Chief.